Hi Sioux Falls, welcome to Planning Preview for the month of October 2021. I'm joined today by Jason Bieber, Senior Planner at the City of Sioux Falls. Hi Jason, how are you today?
Doing great, thanks for having me.
Good, Jason, it's hard to believe we just got 3 months left or so in the calendar. What are things looking like for the remainder of the year at City Hall?
Well, we're still crushing our building permit record, and as you can see by our agenda today, 15 items in October is quite a few that we've, more than we normally have at this time of year. So things are still moving along pretty good, yeah.
Yep. The Planning Commission's certainly been busy, and I would imagine probably expect it to stay that way for November and December?
Yeah, like everybody's like, oh, we can't wait till we get to those months that you're talking about because things will slow down, and I don't think it'll slow down this year.
Yeah, kind of a sign of the times in Sioux Falls right now.
That's right.
All right, well, we've got a good agenda, like you mentioned, very full, so let's get right into it and talk about our applications for the month of October. First up is a preliminary subdivision plan. That's at 41st Ellis Edition, located south of 41st Street and west of South Ellis Road. 41 Ellis LLC is that property owner, and they've got a rezone with it as well. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what they're doing out there?
Yep, so we've got that preliminary subdivision plan that kind of talks about preliminary lot and block layout for what they're building, and then as you indicated later down on the agenda, there's a rezoning to go to some townhomes and apartments out there. If you guys haven't been out to 41st and Ellis, it's just kind of going crazy on that northeast corner. You're getting Fairway, I believe Starbucks is going out there. You've got a couple other strip malls. Northwest corner is where Lloyd's building their large apartment complexes. Along, I think there's a new indoor storage area that's going out there. I'm not sure if they broke ground. And then this is kind of that southwest corner. The immediate southwest corner is still actually outside of city limits, but the west half of this property was purchased and annexed in, and just some more of the kind of the same out there in Westwood Valley, apartments, townhomes, single family uses going out there. So
sure, awesome to see. What an unbelievable amount of development on a major 41st and Ellis intersection there. So. Next on the list is a rezone from the AG Agricultural District to the C3 Community Commercial District. That's located at 4615 West 69th Street, so kind of by the Heart Hospital on 69th Street.
Yep, exactly, just south of the Heart Hospital. It's one of those small properties that was kind of a farmstead for a long time, and then once those people moved out, it was purchased and then annexed into the city, and when it comes into the city, it comes in as agricultural because that's what it was in the county. So now they're just kind of cleaning it up to C3 and then eventually join it with the larger portion of commercial that they have out there. So
okay, makes sense. Next on our list is a rezone. We're going from the RS Single Family Residential Suburban District to the RD1 Twin Home Duplex Residential Suburban District. That's at 2010 and 2012 West 22nd Street. So kind of in between Sanford and the VA Hospital.
Yeah. Yep. And as you can tell, this is kind of one of those shape places things. As we looked back through our permits since 2014, we did find where it was converted to a duplex, has two addresses that you just read legally. So what we do then, as we talked about before, we have the owner submit an application to rezone it to the correct zoning district. We don't charge that fee and just really kind of try and clean it up. So
okay, very good. Next on our list is a rezone from the I-1 Light Industrial District to the MH Manufactured Residential Housing District. That's located at 3301 East Rice Street. So kind of Rice Street and 229?
Yep. East of there a little way. So this is an existing mobile home park, and there was a parcel that they've actually been using for kind of open space for their mobile home for number of years, and now they've actually just purchased it from the person that was leasing it to them, and so they're just coming in and cleaning it up and get it to be the same as the mobile home park. So nothing's really changing, just trying to clean it up a little bit. So
sure, understood. Next on our agenda is a rezone from the RS Single Family Residential Suburban District to the RT1 Single Family Residential Traditional District. That's located at 725 East 28th Street, so kind of close to Woodlawn Cemetery.
Yeah, so this parcel actually butts up to Woodlawn Cemetery. Really a real not very wide parcel. I think it's even less than 40 foot wide. Oh, okay. This gentleman actually had a fire at his house and burned down the house, so now he's looking at constructing a new new house on there. Really can't make it fit with the current RS zoning district. It's less than that 50-foot wide, so we're working with them to rezone that to RT1 to be able to give them those options to be able to build a house back on it. So
Sure, seems like that makes sense. Let's go to the next one, which is a rezone from the RA1 residential apartments low density district to the RT2 townhome residential traditional district. That project is at 800 South Sycamore Avenue, so on the east side, it looks like.
Yep. So this is, I don't know, people know the Field of Dreams that was done by Affordable Housing Solutions. So the south half of this lot, they developed and kind of went with the condo type route on those south portion. This north portion, what they found out is they want to do more townhome type units. So to be able to get frontage in all those streets to sell the townhome style unit becomes a little bit more easier for banks to obviously lend to people when you're doing that instead of condos, and you know that
Sure.
with some of the work that you do in your private job. So.
Yep. Without a doubt. All right, next on the list, Jason, is a rezone from the RA1 residential apartments low density district to the RT1 single family residential traditional district. That's at 304 North Spring Avenue, so kind of a 6th and Minnesota area.
Yep, this is a current vacant lot, and as you know, in the RA1, they can do single family there, but they'd have to do that suburban form. And this lot is rather small, like we've talked about before. So they're rezoning that to RT1 because it's a lot less than 50 feet, and then they want to invest in it and build a new single-family house on it. So.
Okay, very good. Next on our list is a rezone from the O Office District to the RT1 Single Family Residential Traditional District. That's at 530 North Cliff Avenue, so up on the north side of town.
Yep, so this is on Cliff and I think 3rd Street. It's an existing house that CCOG just got back from the bank on that aspect of it. So they're looking to go in there, really do a lot of improvements on the inside. It needs some love. And then there's currently not a garage on it, so what they'd like to do is do an attached garage on that specific parcel also. So.
Okay, very good. Next on our agenda is a rezone from the RS Single Family Residential Suburban District to the CN Conservation District located at 1355 East Sugar Maple Drive, so just east of Willow Run. Tell us about this one.
Yep, so this is a large parcel that's kind of back to the southwest of some houses up there in Arbor's Edge. One of the property owners owns that aspect, or this large lot, would like to zone it as conservation because it's really not usable with the specific flood area, and then kind of utilize it as some additional yard for his single family house. So.
Okay, sure. Next on the agenda is a rezone from the Agricultural District to the RR Single Family Residential Rural District. That's located at 9009 East 57th Street. So very far southeast part of town, kind of east of 6 Mile Road even.
Yep, you're east of 6 Mile Road, and if you guys haven't been out there, 57th Street is being kind of graded, or some utilities are going to start going in, then next year we're going to pave that all the way out.
Awesome.
And so this would be just east of 6 Mile, exactly what you said, and then it's a parcel that's on a pretty large parcel, and the applicant's looking to split that into 2 lots and then develop 2 single-family homes on it. So.
Okay, we haven't seen a ton of applications for that area yet, but there's such large swatches of land down there. I would imagine we've got a lot coming forward in the future.
Yeah, and that's something we talk about. We've talked to some developers out there north of 57th Street, and I believe most of that ground is either has been sold to developers, and they're going to start coming in the next couple months to start rezoning it. And it's what we talk about, trying to keep up with growth. We're barely going to get, you think right now you go out there, it's a gravel road. Hey, we're paving 57th Street, we're going to get ahead of it. Well, by the time 57th Street's paved, they'll probably be already built up to 57th Street. So
it's hard to keep up in this town right now, and especially once you start moving that dirt work, it gets everybody want to move even faster too. So I would imagine there's a lot in store for that area in the future. So. Last on our agenda is a rezone from the I-1 Light Industrial RD2 Townhome Residential Suburban and RS Single Family Residential Suburban Districts to the CN Conservation District. That's located at 707, 709, and 711 South Blauvelt Avenue. Kind of a cliff and kind of by the Big Sioux in Sioux Falls. Tell us about that.
Just kind of north of the railroad tracks. It's really some vacant lots that are really unusable, to be honest with you, because they're in the flood area. I know we had Lightscape looking at it and couldn't make it work because of elevation changes and things. So the applicants here, what they want to do is do kind of a community garden and actually use it as kind of a teaching tool for people to learn how to garden and stuff. So to be honest with you, it's kind of a unique little project and could be kind of a cool way to utilize those properties that you really can't build structures on. So.
Yeah, that's great to see the creativity there, without a doubt. Well, thanks, Jason. Appreciate it. As you mentioned, we had a full agenda for October, so we look forward to that meeting on October 6th.
Yep, thank you.
Appreciate it. And Sioux Falls, be sure to stick around for the second half of our show. We've got Fletcher Laycock joining us. He's going to be talking about the Minnesota Avenue Corridor Study.
Hi, my name is Brent and I'm a housing specialist with the City of Sioux Falls, and I'm here with Kelly, who is the property maintenance manager for code enforcement here in Sioux Falls. Kelly, we're looking at this window in the background here, and this family has decided to put in an egress window and finish a bedroom down here. Do they really need this type of a window?
Yes, absolutely. If you're going to have a habitable sleeping space in the basement, you need to have an egress window. It's got to be a 5 square foot opening. And that's for your safety in case of a fire or emergency. You need to get out, you can get out, or firemen or rescue personnel can get in to get you.
I see they have a metal window well and then a cover on that. Should they have a cover that's fastened down on an egress window?
No, the cover cannot be fastened down. You can have the cover, just not fastened down, something that's easily openable. And if it's more than 4 feet tall, it needs to have a ladder so somebody can climb out.
Right. If they didn't want metal, could they have a wood one or made out of rocks?
Yep, you can have a wood or a block egress window. I mean, the well is just to keep the dirt away and give you the area to get out of the window.
Thank you, Kelly. Well, if you're planning on having habitable space down in your basement and to keep your family safe, be sure to install a new egress window.
If you'd like to see if one of our city programs can help you out, call 367-8180 or check us out online at siouxfalls.org.
Welcome back from the break, Sioux Falls. Thanks for sticking with us. I'm joined today by Fletcher Laycock, urban planner with the City of Sioux Falls. How are you today, Fletcher?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Good. Happy to have you on the program for the first time. I know you've been around the city government here for 3 months or so. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us about where you came from?
Yeah, Fletcher Laycock, urban planner, City of Sioux Falls, Planning and Development Services. Been here for 3 months and working on regional and long-range planning issues for the city.
Okay, very fun. We've been fortunate to have you the last few months, and it's been good to get to know you. We got you on today talking about this thing called the Minnesota Avenue Corridor Study. I know it's been going on for a number of years, and a lot of people have a lot of questions about it, so this will be great. So talk to us a little bit right off the bat. Tell us, what is a corridor study?
Yeah, so a corridor study is a document where we're looking at information, background on an area to identify issues and opportunities so that we can make recommendations. In this case, when we're talking about a corridor, we're talking about Minnesota Avenue, and it's a street network, or a street which provides connection to the north edge of the city, south to the edge of the city and beyond, and provides access to a lot of housing, employment centers, retail, parks. And so what we're looking at are the land use opportunities in those areas.
Okay. So talk to me a little bit, Fletcher, about how we got to where we're at with the corridor study. How did we get this started? When did we get it started? And why does the planning department do a corridor study?
Yeah, so before I started at the city, they'd already been in the process of doing a survey for the north portion of the Minnesota Avenue corridor, and that's between Russell Street and 3rd Street. So I believe this summer they started construction on the intersection of Russell Street and Minnesota Avenue, and then we'll see 4 phases of reconstruction on Minnesota Avenue going from the north end to the south. And we're going to see 4 phases of this land use study or corridor study with that.
Okay, gotcha. So why, tell me a little bit why the focus on Minnesota Avenue right now? Is there a particular reason? Or?
Great question. So the Public Works Department is currently working on a 4-phased reconstruction of Minnesota Avenue.
Okay.
And their goals are to improve lighting, update infrastructure, and improve the aesthetics of the corridor, as well as helping with access. So that is an opportunity for the city to look at what type of redevelopment may happen in that corridor.
Okay, yeah, and what an opportunity. So much transformation with Minnesota Avenue over the years with turning over businesses. But, you know, from a general road perspective, it's really kind of stayed very much so the same for so many numbers of years. And I think traffic departments over the years have learned a lot. And I imagine with some of the improvements, it'll just improve traffic flow quite a bit.
I think it will. When you look at Minnesota Avenue back in the 1920s when it started development, it was a streetcar corridor, so there were a lot of trolleys. That's gone away, but the style of development is you get the buildings pulled up closer to the street, because as people were getting on and off those streetcars, they were able to hop into those stores quickly. And so that's some of the remnants of development we see on Minnesota Avenue, and it really impacts what type of development we want to see in the future.
Okay, gotcha. And I hear a lot of individuals talking about the median. Is that a lot of what we're looking at? Is there going to end up being a median going down most of Minnesota Avenue then?
Yeah, I think that's part of the plan. So there's a lot of free movement on Minnesota, and to lower the impact or lower the incident of accidents and traffic collisions, they're putting in these medians to prevent left-hand turns, which are the cause of many of these incidents.
Certainly. I think, especially in that north part, Fletcher, what a interesting corridor, because we truly do have residential on Minnesota Avenue, and a lot of people forget that if you don't travel it. But then you also have commercial. I mean, very, very close, and it's like our main commercial corridor, that in 41st in town. So a very unique process, I would imagine, going for you guys when you're analyzing something like this.
So in the corridor report that we're doing, it's going to identify, have a map which identifies 3 different development areas. The redevelopment area along Minnesota Avenue, where we're going to see, if describing it colloquially, it'll just be bulldoze and what's going to come next. Then we have a transition area as we get off of Minnesota Avenue towards Spring and Dakota, where we want to invest in those areas, and then a maintenance area, which is we don't want to touch. It's a lot of single-family housing that is a conservation area, and you know, we want to protect people's investments and help them continue to live in the neighborhoods they have.
Okay, yeah, and that's of course a paramount concern. All these individuals, and whether you're a business owner or a property owner, you've got property rights as well, and the city needs to work with those groups to make sure those relationships run smoothly and we can get a project that benefits everybody. And I think, Fletcher, this one's really unique to me because so many travelers come from that airport and they go straight to downtown, and this is, you know, one of the first impressions of Sioux Falls. So really important that we get it right up on that north side of town to make sure it looks nice as well.
And I think the Public Works Department's doing a great job with that and creating the aesthetics that are needed. What we hope to do with this report is provide something that Planning Commission and City Council can refer to when making land use decisions in the corridor. And what we've started with is the survey with the community, and then we're going to move on this fall to a open house in conjunction with Public Works Department to introduce this, and then we'll have it posted online once we have a draft of the report, and be able to take comments that way, because it's very important to get the public's input on this.
Yeah, and I would imagine there's so many owners on Minnesota Avenue that are affected, and like you said, just off of Minnesota Avenue as well. So survey, you said, was the first step?
Survey, and then we're going to release the draft document and get comments back, and hold an open house in conjunction with Public Works Department. Okay. And then hopefully we'll be taking that to Planning Commission and City Council for approval.
Okay. And have you had much for comments, much for public input so far on what people like, what people don't like in corridor studies like this?
We have had some input at the beginning stages with the survey, but what we're hoping for is that once we have a draft document in place, that we'll get more people interested as they can see how it's going to impact them.
Okay. So let's say I'm a property owner right off of Minnesota Avenue. What does it possibly mean? I mean, I know that there's a lot of uncertainty there, and that's what this process for is, to gather public input. So there's no certain answers yet, but is it possibly a little bit loss of more of an encroaching right of way onto somebody's property? I know there's access issues. What could it possibly mean for adjacent property owners?
What it might give them is an idea that the city's either going to is probably going to support either the maintenance of their single-family home and help them invest in that as they live there. And we notice there's a lot of homeowner occupancy in this area. But it also will help for developers looking to purchase property along Minnesota Avenue and see what type of development would be allowed.
Sure, sure. So opportunities for redevelopment there as well, which are good. Let's talk about what's next, Fletcher, in this Minnesota Avenue corridor process. A lot of steps, I know, to get to the point where we're doing shovels into the ground, but what comes next?
Next, we're working on the draft document, and it's going to have a couple of scenarios that we want to get the public's input in as to what they would prefer to see in this section of Minnesota Avenue between Russell Street and 3rd Street. And once we have a scenario chosen, then we'll do that draft document and have it available for the public to review.
Okay, perfect. And I just imagine this conversation today, there's a lot of people that probably didn't know about this project and that it was going on. Where can individuals who watch this go to get more information? Is it the city's website or?
It is the city website, siouxfalls.org, and planning and development services and future land use planning.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you, Fletcher. Anything else you'd like to add about the project? Or?
No, just thank you for having me, and looking forward to meeting with you a lot more often.
Yeah, appreciate it. It was great to hear about it. So. Thanks for joining us, Sioux Falls. As always, we'd like members of the public to come down to Carnegie Town Hall to give public input on agenda and non-agenda items. Our next Planning Commission meeting is October 6th at 6 p.m. at the Carnegie Town Hall. We'd love to see you there. Thank you.